Another kind of group that does seem happiest is people who report being satisfied with their relationships. So that's both romantic relationships, but also in terms of people who have lots of friends, who spend lots of time with their friends. This is one of the biggest predictors of who is happy and who's not, basically your personal relationships. So you can see here that people who say that they're satisfied with their relationships report being much happier than people who report not being satisfied. Now, another one is money. And money gets people really interested about happiness. Because in many ways, we don't really like to think that money leads to happiness. You know, we have this idea that, oh, you can't buy happiness. You know, happiness comes from within. I still don't really understand where that idea came from. Because to me, if you look across countries, rich countries are happier than poor countries. Quite straightforward. Within countries, if you're poor within a country, then you're less happy than if you're rich within a country. So at least cross-sectionally, as in if you measure it at one point of time, money does lead to happiness, especially at the low end. So especially for those people who earn little amounts of money, even very small increases can dramatically improve people's well-being. But it's not just about having money. There's also increasing evidence about how you use your money impacts your happiness. So if people use their limited budget, which we all have a limited amount to spend, if we spend more of it on experiences and not stuff, then people seem to be happier from those experiences. If we spend more money on others rather than just buying stuff for ourselves, we seem to be happier as well. So even though we can't kind of wave a magic wand and become richer, maybe we can allocate our spending differently to try and improve our happiness as well. Another one is fulfilling employment, that if people feel in control of their lives, if they feel that they're doing something they're good at, that's another super strong predictor of who is happy and who's not. Now, I think I know what you're all thinking now. I think what you're thinking is, this is just too easy. All you're telling me is, I need to get really rich, I need to have amazing relationships, both romantically and otherwise, I need to find a job that I'm kick-ass at and that I find really feel in control and fulfilling. I'm just going to go home tonight and be much happier. But the thing is that actually it's a bit more complicated than that. And the reason it's more complicated is because of this thing called hedonic adaptation. Now, basically, hedonic adaptation, it's not a good or a bad thing, but it changes what it means to try and pursue happiness. If we're trying to become happier, then hedonic adaptation can be your enemy. So let me explain. Basically, everything that we do, everything that changes in our lives, we just adapt to. That's what the human condition is. We're supposed to be good at adapting to changing environments. And that's the same with happiness. So even though things that we think might really impact our happiness, we just adjust. So within a few years, no matter kind of what happens to us, we seem to go back to a set point. So if you look at marriage, you think that maybe, like I showed you, that relationships matter. Maybe if we get married, we're going to be much happier. But no. We're happier a bit beforehand. We're really happy on the day. That's awesome. And then back to normal. No. Marriage, not really helping. Birth of a child, again, pretty awesome just before, pretty crappy just afterwards. But again, we just adjust back to the set point. Even when really terrible things happen, even when really awful things like the death of a spouse, we do adjust back within a few years. You can even see that someone's a bit happier at the end there, but this depends on gender and depends on a few other things. But basically, we just adapt to what happens to us. Now, this has really important implications for us pursuing happiness. Because if we're trying to pursue happiness, but then we know that we adapt every time, then we need to think about how big the changes are that are happening in our lives. If we win the lottery tomorrow, but then we adapt to that, and in a couple of years' time, we're back to normal levels of happiness, then we can't really win the lottery twice. So really, it's about steady changes, steady gains. People will be much happier if they slowly increase their income over time than if they had some massive windfall. And similarly with other areas of life, slow goal fulfillment that feels like you're making progress is going to make people happier than big changes.